Hey everybody, welcome. Mike here. Thought I'd do a quick Monday morning mood check. Think I'll keep doing these things. I don't know if I'll keep doing them live. I'm not doing this one live. I really didn't care for the live bit. I think I'd just rather record a longer form message. I don't want to call it a podcast because it's not. Because I like to pick on podcasters a little bit. Just a little. Sorry, guys. Um, I've been going down rabbit holes all over YouTube lately, and it's like this whole podcaster ecosystem of, hey, I've got a podcast. Hey, I've got a podcast too. Hey, let's interview each other. Okay, I'll come on your podcast. You come on my podcast, and we'll go on their podcast. And it's like a big joke. Like in the TV shows when somebody um great example of when doctors meet each other and everybody says doctor. And they did a fun parody of that on a Supernatural episode where they got transported into a doctor show, doing a parody of Grey's Anatomy. And they're all like, doctor, 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 doctor. And then the whole scene freezes while everybody's waiting on the last person to say doctor to the last person they didn't say it to yet. So that's to me that's the kind of the joke I see with the whole podcast ecosystem. Not that I don't love a good joke. Even just, my shirt today, I'm wearing my dad jokes are how I roll. I roll. Um, because I do love a good joke, and I'm a firm believer that the way to keep your relationship interesting is to keep your significant other rolling their eyes at you, rolling her eyes at you. Because the more she says, oh, God, the more yours she becomes. So keep those eyes rolling, friends, and keep those relationships healthy. Speaking of healthy, so emotional honesty is the brand. The My Mood Gear, the book, the honesty equation. I kind of wanted to just kind of go into what that means a little bit. Um, Traditionally, I guess is the word, men have been demonized more for expressing their feelings, expressing their emotions, for even having them, really. And just not just in life, but in relationships, in partnerships. If I'm married, I've got a wife, and if it's not even about like fighting, but say we're having some kind of situation or whatever is going on, and these things affect me as well as her. And the fact is that she's not a mind reader, she's not an empath, she doesn't know how I feel about it unless I tell her. And if she's doing something that upsets me, she doesn't know unless I tell her. She's doing something that I love and absolutely want some more of. She doesn't necessarily know unless I tell her. That's fair, right? I mean, doesn't it's not that complicated. That makes sense. So, the what it really comes down to though is why wouldn't I tell her? Either way, if it's positive or negative. I know just recently, even we were having some discussion about something we were planning. I don't even remember what it was, something we were discussing. We were on the same page with what we wanted to do, but she was getting I think we were talking about planning our next vacation, which is going to be a Disney cruise. And she was very excited, and she kept kind of talking over me and was saying the same thing that I was going to say, but it was taking away the opportunity for me to say the thing. And I said, whoa, 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 hold on. You keep taking over my sentences and you're finishing them before I can. Even though we were gonna say the same thing, I said, it makes me feel like you're taking me out of the conversation and I want to be part of the conversation too. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. It's not a criticism, it's just a simple fact. Maybe it's even a silly thing for me to feel that way in that particular situation, but it was still how I felt. Whether it's silly or not, it was my feeling in the matter. And I let her know, hey, I'd like to finish the sentence this time so I can feel like I'm part of the conversation. And she said, oh, okay. And it's not a criticism, it's not an accusation, and it's not in anger. And she doesn't take it that way because I'm just telling her, hey, this is how I feel about what this is. Let's fix it. If there's something to do to fix it, great. If not, it's not always about even fixing things. Sometimes you just want to get your feelings off your chest and into the air and, put those words out into the universe. And it makes a difference. Um, Natives believe that words have power, and they do. It's true. There's power in putting your wants, your desires, your feelings into words and expressing those words. The universe hears them. Okay? The universe hears them and they carry into the air to to God, to the source, to the great spirit, whoever you feel is out there listening. I mean, it's all kind of the same. I mean, God's God, great spirit is still God. It's all the same, but whoever is listening, God is listening to what you say. And when you put those thoughts, those feelings, those desires, put them into words and you put those words into the universe, they gain weight. They gain, if you want to be more sciencey about it, let's just say that they gain mass. Higgs boson gives particles mass. Well, your thoughts, your feelings, your desires can't be exposed to that Higgs field and gain mass until you assign them to words and put them out into the universe. So that's kind of an interesting thought. So give your thoughts mass, give your feelings mass, put them into words, empower those words, and send them out into the universe to be exposed to the Higgs field and gain mass the way particles do. That is an interesting thought. Honestly, I just kind of evolved the the thought train here and ended up in that place. And I had never even thought that way before specifically, so we just kind of got there together. So very interesting idea. Um, but yeah, it makes a difference. And it's good for you. It's good for your partner because you wouldn't want your partner going around not telling you how they felt about things, would you? Maybe you would, I don't know, but it's not a very healthy way to live. It's not a very fun way to live. It's definitely not. So why would you want to do it? I always feel like my relationship with my wife, when we got married, I didn't say, I promise I'll never hurt you. I promise I'll never let you down. A lot of people do that kind of thing in their wedding vows, but I don't, I try not to make promises that I can't keep. Doesn't mean I don't try to keep them, but there are some things that you can't do. Promising never to hurt her. I cannot promise that I will never do anything that would hurt her. I just can't promise that. So it's not something I want to say and give mass to by putting it out into the world. What I can promise is I will always do my best to not hurt you, to put you first. Um, I can't promise to make you happy. It's not my responsibility to make you happy. What I can promise is that I will always love you and I will always be here for you and we will always work together as a team. We're a team. We're together. We're separate, but we're whole. And I can promise that I will always do that. So those were the vows that we made. And I like to think we have done a good job, consciously, a good job of sticking to those vows. None of it happens automatically. Sharing my feelings is definitely not my default because I like to have stone face, like resting asshole face, if you will, RAF, and just kind of like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, okay, sure, yeah. I don't like to show especially on the reaction. I don't like to show the reaction. I don't always succeed at removing the reaction from this ugly mug here, but I try. So sharing my feelings is not my default by any means. I do try to do it when I can. It takes effort. Sometimes it's after the fact. I always say act, don't react. So when we're having a discussion, I don't like to use the word fight because we don't fight. Fighting is a choice. And it's not productive, doesn't help, it just makes things worse. So we just choose not to do it. We disagree for sure all the time. But it's not a fight because it's not worth fighting about. It's stupid to fight about some of the things that we don't necessarily agree with each other on. But we do disagree. And I like to think if something happens that upsets me, I don't want to react because I need a minute or whatever to process what happened. And then I can kind of determine my position and then I can act instead of reacting. Reacting is reflex. It's like that. And it's not always the best response to whatever the situation is. So if you just that's where the whole counting to 10 thing comes from. You know, count to 10, take a pause. There's value in it. And don't act or don't react, just act. Um I always tell my daughter as well, my oldest. I say, and I say this other places too. It's not selfish to ask what's in it for me when you're making a decision like that. When you're in your relationship, what is in it for you to share your feelings and be on the same page with your partner? What's in it for you? Let's just see what is in it for me to be honest about how I feel in my relationship with my wife in my marriage. Um, what's in it for me? I don't have to try and take the extra work, extra effort to try and hide my feelings. Two, B, I don't remember if I was counting or lettering, so let's do one and two. So now we're on two. Two, I don't have to try and fix the situation after I already had a bad reaction and made the situation worse. Three, I don't have to spend a whole fortune on flowers trying to like keep my wife from being pissed at me. So there's that too. And four, we can try and get the response to whatever the situation is right the first time and not have to fix it later because we fucked up. So, I mean, there's four things right there in it for me. Now, probably always think it's selfish to ask what's in it for me. But you know what? It's really not because the the situation whatever it is, it's not about what's in it for you, but you should still consider what's in it for me. What do I get out of this? And this is where I come back to my kids. I tell her, if somebody wants you to do something, if you're not sure what to do, if it's the right decision or not, you can still ask, what is in this? What do I get out of doing this? If we're gonna skip Spanish class, what do I get out of that decision? Nothing. Nothing positive anyway. I get trouble. I get less trust at home. Probably lose my phone again. So, nothing positive. But you can also say if somebody wants to wants me to help them do something, you can still ask, what's in it for me? What do I get out of this? Nothing. But helping my friend move something or whatever. But it's not, it's selfish if it's the determining factor, I guess is the right way to put it. Because it doesn't have to be the determining factor. But if, say, I get nothing out of this situation except helping other people, I could still choose to help the other people and sacrifice on my end, but it's ridiculous to go into the situation without at least taking that into account. I know this is gaining me nothing and it's costing me something to help this person, but I'm helping them anyway. Does that make sense? I just want to try and make sure I'm explaining myself well. So, just thinking out loud, I guess. It all kind of rolls together. Being open about your feelings. That's why I do the shirts, because sometimes it's easier just to wear it on a shirt. Sometimes the shirts can even start a conversation with somebody else. They're like, oh, hey, that's a great shirt. I also, I roll with dad jokes as well. So, it's like a little mental fist bump as you're passing somebody. Uh, and it can start some conversations too, because let's face it, we all learned how to deal with our emotions from our parents. Were your parents emotionally healthy? Mine weren't. So, what are they going to teach me? Not much. So, years of self therapy, and I say self therapy because I did see a therapist for a while, and I quit because every week ended up me being me coming in and saying what I thought, what I was going to do, and here's my plan, and blah, 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 blah. And after 3 or 4 weeks of that, and the therapist just agreed with everything I just said and said, let me know how that goes next week. I said, you know what? I'm just doing this myself anyway, so I'm out of here. Not knocking therapy, it's just I was putting enough thought into it that I was basically doing the therapist's job for her. So self therapy it was. Uh so I think I'm gonna keep doing these videos on Mondays. Quick Monday mood check-ins. Uh, like I said, I'm not gonna do the live. I'm just gonna do the recording and discuss anything that seems like it's on my mind. I'm also about to make a new shirt. I just had a random crazy idea for a new shirt on the website. So, um, keep an eye out for that. It's gonna be cool, I think. Uh, if you have thoughts, if you have questions, leave them in the comments. Like and share and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, it's not a YouTube channel like just I'm a content creator per se. It's entirely to go along with the brand. It's to discuss emotional honesty, it's to discuss, you know, just mental health in general. So, I'm there's no I see tons of videos on YouTube. They're like how to pick and your brand and your niche to make your channels go viral and get all the views and make money and whatever. And this is the brand. This is what it is. So I'm not trying to find like a niche that I can just, fill it with clickbait and get a whole bunch of clicks and start making money. This is entirely to support the brand, the cause. Emotional honesty is important. It matters. It's the part of mental health, the part of the mental health journey that gets overlooked. Yes, you need to do all these other things, but the first thing you do, the foundation of your mental health, is to be honest with yourself, with others, about how you feel, about how things make you feel. How does that make you feel? How does me telling you that make you feel? You can tell me. Put it in the comments because I guarantee you, however you feel, If you think you're the only one that feels that way or reacts that way to a situation, you're wrong. And the sooner that more people figure that out, the better off we'll all be. Because, folks, we're in this together. That's just the way it is. No man is an island unto himself, right? That's what they say. Well, it's true. It takes a village to raise children, and you know what? It takes a village to be adults too. You can't do it yourself. And simple fact is, why would you wanna? Because doing it yourself sucks. It does. So don't. You're not alone. There are people around you who have your back. Whether you think so or not, there are. So be there for them, share with them, listen to them. And you know what? We, you and I, we can do this. And that's it for this week. I think I've preached from my soapbox long enough for today. So keep moving forward, friends, and remember, we all fall. So when you fall, make sure you fall forward. See you later. Bye, guys.